Connor, Damien, a pleasure to be speaking with both of you. Damien, you have spirit because you got some art behind you right there. Uh, Two-part question to start off, Damien. One, where do you get great posters like that printed? And two, how are you today?
um, I, my distributor actually just gave me a copy of the poster. I don't know where they print them. I usually go to a print shop of some kind, and I'm doing great. How are you?
Non-stop, but good. And it's a pleasure to be speaking with both of you now. Connor, seen you in a trillion things. You were on a great comedy that is pretty underrated, Swedish Dicks. Not a lot of people talk about that show. So it's great to see your credits that you're able to do horror, drama, comedy, etc. When you started off as an actor, did you say, I'm a horror guy, or did you just say, hey, if it's a good script, it's a good script?
Oh yeah, again, the I guess the way I've always tried to look at it is like, the characters don't know they're in a movie, and they certainly don't know what genre they're in. So, and if they do, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. So, the genre never mattered to me because if it's a comedy, I think the best comedies or comedic performances you play like a drama, and if it's a horror film, you play it like a drama, because it's about making the most rational or the most relatable choice in a ridiculous situation. So I don't, yeah, if the story excites me, or sometimes if the story doesn't even excite me, but one line excites me, or one actor or a director or a cinematographer, I just love being on set. So any way that I can justify it, as long as I'm not making, far right propaganda, I feel pretty good.
Unless you're comedically doing it by playing a character that's so serious that there's the art element to it.
If you want me to do a Jojo Rabbit, yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. Now, Damien, throwing it over to you here. There's certain directors we hear when they're directing the film, we know, hey, that means there's going to be a lot of takes or there's going to be a lot of improv, etc. How would you describe your directing style? Or is that a Connor question?
Well, I'm sure Connor definitely has plenty that he could add, but I've been editing film and TV professionally for over 20 years.
Top Gear. We can't forget the most watched show in the world.
Top Gear, Dating Naked. The list goes on, but I've done feature films, documentaries, reality TV. I can tell you that I've learned a tremendous amount of working in unscripted television, just because as an editor, when you're sitting there in the chair and you're working with hundreds of hours of footage that somebody else shot and you don't have those shots that you need, you never forget it. And the other thing about it is that you're just learning sort of the economy of storytelling and learning how to take footage and distill it down into a very short amount of time for people to watch on television with commercial breaks. So that's made me a better storyteller. Understanding, knowing what coverage I need has made me a better director. And then also because of that, because I'm an editor, my mind is always working in terms of like, how am I going to cut this together? So it makes me very efficient. First of all, I plan very meticulously. I storyboard and I shot list quite a lot. That is because the storyboards and the shot list are effectively the first cut of the movie in my mind. So I show up with a very clear plan. I know exactly what I need at a minimum to get the scene, and then everything else is gravy. But that kind of preparation allows me to do fewer takes and fewer setups to tell the story.
Well, follow up to that before I throw it to Connor here is when somebody makes a mistake, you as the outsider are used to seeing cut and then the people regroup and then other directors go keep rolling, keep doing, we can cut it out. In your case, when you say cut, do you just keep rolling and let the person do it again, or do you set up from the beginning?
Well, I'll do it. It really kind of depends on the situation. In unscripted TV, there's a lot of just basically series takes. You just never shut the camera off. That is very common to that form of entertainment. I actually do that sometimes, and I did do it on the cleansing hour a number of moments, because what it allowed me to do and what allows me to do in some cases is to actually push my actors to keep going. They know the camera's on. Yes, I know I'm exhausting you. Yes, I know this is physically taxing, but that's what I want, right? And sometimes it's actually more efficient to just cut, because cut, reset, start over, and that's going to be way faster than just going and exhausting your actors. So it's you have to kind of read the situation before you make that decision.
Connor, is Damien telling the truth in the way you see it, and you weren't that exhausted in making Creature stirring? Creature was stirring. Sorry.
Damien, I always have to resist, I'm glad interviews are on Zoom, because the print stuff, my sense of humor and my sarcasm could just be a disaster. I never want to answer anything seriously. No, Damien he's a very efficient director, especially when you're doing things that are a lot of heightened emotions. It is a comfort as the actor to know that he's not coming in there going like, we'll figure it out, we'll find it. You give him what he needs, he's happy, and he'll move on. He directs like a fan, which I really like. He can't hide when he's really excited about something. So you know when it works because he's just pumped immediately. And that's some directors have a poker face all the time and they just don't give you anything. And that is a style, but he gets wrapped up in the moment. He clearly loves his material. So when it's working in the way that he wants it to, you can see that on his face, and that just feels good. Because again, at the end of the day, he's going to craft this story.
Right.
And you have to just trust. I mean, that's what you do as an actor, is just like, okay, if you're going to lead me into the trenches, like I get shot, but like, I'm going to trust you. So it's nice to know that he believes in what's happening, because if you're watching your director sweat, that's just scary. And he doesn't waste time. And I never felt that, sometimes you feel like if you're doing multiple takes, they're just trying to see, let me see if I can find something new, or let's just see, let me see what I can pull out of you, where Damien always clearly has a very specific thing he's driving at, while also really being capable of changing his mind if something different happens. He's not locked in to the extent that it's like, okay, I don't care if it's working, if it's not the thing that I preconceived. He'll drop whatever he was sort of aiming at if something happens that he believes in more. So he's just a very authentic guy.
These are a lot of compliments, Damien. So congratulations on that. And an actor, a cast that wants to work with you again. I'm putting words on his mouth.
Tall, which is nice. He's just a big guy, and I appreciate that.
Sure. I get it. Well, the last question I have for both of you, this is an old movie for you. And by that, I mean, it's done. You've been talking about it. You've told all your friends and family. You've put it on your social media. To us, it's new. But the average creative is always thinking like a chess game, like 3-4 steps ahead. Are we allowed to know, and I'll throw it to Damien first, are we allowed to know what you're working on next, or what we will see from you? Or is it A Creature Was Stirring forever and ever, and that's it? That's the swan song?
Well, I can definitely tell you about the next movie that I've got teed up. It's called Trotterhead. It's an Amish horror film. So it's a ghost story set in Amish country. So I'm very excited about it. It's going to be like something you've never seen.
Cool. Scout Taylor Compton is not in that, correct?
I can't confirm that right now.
Yeah, there was a while when you were doing all these junkets where you couldn't get anyone to talk about their current project or their upcoming project. So it's at least a relief to find out what's coming up. So I'll take
it's my company, so I can talk about it.
There you go. And Connor, same question at you before I let you both go. Are we allowed to know what's next? And if not, what's the social media that we're checking to know what's next?
I am not a person. You'll learn nothing from my social media. I am a Luddite. It's very hard for me to interact with social media. So I'm not great at promotion, unfortunately. But yeah, there are 3 films to be on the lookout for. I don't know when they're releasing. But one is called The Young Wife, which I saw at South by Southwest, which I think is a phenomenal film. Very proud of it. Another called The Last Stop in Yuma County, which just finished its run at Stygius and Fantastic Fest. That will be out at some point this year or early next year. And then another film called Seance, which I have not seen yet, but which I had a lot of fun making. So hopefully that will be out sometime soon, or at least I'll get to see it. And then there's there's stuff I can't talk about. I think I should just do the Daniel Day-Lewis thing and constantly retire. So I think I'll just retire every time somebody asks me.
But his retirement included becoming a cobbler. Do you really want to become a cobbler?
Not necessarily a cobbler, but I could be a botanist. I have the same plant that you do back there.
Nice. Diefenbach, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
I don't know. My wife takes care of it. I don't know.
Big leaves. But no, so yeah, in any of those 3 films, if anyone sees, I appreciate it. Because,
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you both for your time. Congrats on this new film. And so glad to hear that there's endless work coming from both of you in the very near future.
Thanks, Darren. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Darren.
Paltrocast.